Hey guys, thanks for tuning in to another Throwback Thursday on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian McCollum, and way back in 2014, I had a really cool opportunity to visit and interview L. James Sullivan, or Jim Sullivan, probably best recognized for his work with Robert Fremont, the two of them being engineers working for the Armalite Company, who actually did the work of converting Stoner's AR-10 down to the 22 caliber AR-15, to 23 caliber AR-15. They're the two guys who actually made that conversion. So Sullivan has done a bunch of other interesting and cool firearms design work. The Ultimax, developed for Singapore, was his work. Constant recoil was a major focus of his. And among all of this other stuff, he also developed a 22 caliber, basically plinking rifle, something that was along the lines of and could have competed with the Ruger 1022. Now, in order to finance it, he was courting none other than famous actor John Wayne, who was potentially interested in this sort of thing. Obviously, John Wayne had a lot of money and he was looking for places to invest it. So there's a little more to this story than we get into in the original video, which you'll see in just a moment. Basically, at the same time that Sullivan was trying to get Wayne to finance this 22 caliber rifle, Military Armament Corporation, MAC, or Gordon Ingram's company, was also trying to get John Wayne to invest in the MAC M10. And there was a bit of friction between the two groups. Eventually, they had basically one get-together range day with John Wayne and some of his retinue, and both Ingram and Sullivan showed up with their respective guns. And Sullivan tested out or demonstrated this 22 rifle for John Wayne, and apparently everything went pretty well. It frankly seems like a really good rifle. Economical, but still functional, reliable, and well designed. Well, when it came to the Ingram M10s, there was a bit of an oopsie, because it's not 100% clear exactly what happened, but the story, as best I understand it, is someone demonstrating firing one of the M10 covert briefcase guns, accidentally had it pointed backwards towards the crowd of onlookers instead of forwards towards the target, and through a minor miracle managed to dump an entire magazine and not hit anybody in the crowd. But this apparently really kind of ended John Wayne's interest in investing in the firearms industry, perhaps. And so the 22 that you'll see here in just a moment never ended up going anywhere, and we have just these two examples of it. So with that bit of background, I will turn you over to Ian from 7 years ago.
Hi guys, thanks for tuning in to another video on ForgottenWeapons.com. I'm Ian, and I am the gracious guest today of Jim Sullivan. We're taking a look at a number of his guns, including these. This is a pair of 22 caliber self-loading rifles that Jim Sullivan was actually designing with some financial backing from none other than John Wayne. These were originally intended to compete with the 1022, and the idea was they would fund a startup company that then would then go on to produce some other really cool products. So ultimately there were some hiccups in Wayne's family, and the financial support kind of went away, which left these two prototypes built and nothing else went into production. But there's some neat features to these guns, and of course they're two of a kind and really cool to look at. So we're going to go ahead and take a closer look at them and how they work and what might have been. So, Mr. Sullivan, these are your rifles. You're going to take one apart and show us how they work.
Okay.
Got a magazine release button there on the side.
And then you push it in again. Now this is free to swing around.
Okay. And that actually acts as the magazine release spring.
Right, it does.
As that flat piece of metal.
Then this lifts up.
Oh, that's cool. The whole side plate just comes off, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Little blowback bolt.
This comes out.
Well, that's pretty simple.
Here's the trigger mechanism.
Okay. So that's your hammer.
And this acts as a spring for this, which is the safety.
Okay. And one of the interesting features of this is, while the safety is engaged, the bolt locks open on an empty magazine.
Right.
So if you need to, set the rifle down safe at a firing line, you can engage the safety and lock the bolt open. But if the safety is disengaged, then it won't lock open,
right,
and just cycles and fires normally.
And if I have a penny, and I do, you can take the barrel out.
I like where this disassembly is going. So you got a retaining screw there on the very bottom. Now, did you design that for a penny, or is that just kind of cool coincidence?
No, that's designed for it. That's a special screw. We made it. I never do enough. No matter how many times I've done this, I've never turned it enough times.
Almost.
5 minutes later. Anyway.
Wow. All right, so that's a contained screw. You don't actually have to take that all the way out.
Right.
It's just
what it does,
right
it pushes this up against a V block, okay? And then there's 2 pins that you can see that are.
So if we look inside there, you can see the 2 pins inside. And those pins go into those 2 semicircular holes in the barrel. And threading that screw in pushes the barrel upwards into those 2 pins. Nice. That's a clever way to lock that in place.
And it's quite accurate. You can take the barrel out, put it back in. You have to fire a couple shots just to get everything settled down again.
Okay.
And then it goes to the same hole it did before you took it out.
Okay. I like the feel of this too. Honestly, one complaint I've always had with the 1022 is that the stock's short and the grip's small and it just doesn't fit me well.
Right.
This is nice and beefy and full size, and I'm sure if this had gone in production, you could very easily have a youth model with a little shorter stock on it. But of course, you did also have the version with a little rail on top.
Yeah.
For mounting a
the rail's
scope.
The rail is here
right.
too.
The rail's on all of them.
And that's what this sits on. So
nice little aperture sight there.
Yeah.
These are really cool. It's not like there's a shortage of 22 caliber rifles out there, but it's too bad this one never made it into production.
Right.
We should point out to people is that this was probably a 5-round magazine.
It was 10.
Is that 10?
And that's double column.
Okay.
This way.
And then you have
that's 25.
25.
Yeah.
Nice.
And that.
Well, very cool. So, any plans to ever put this into production in the future?
Every once in a while I get an opportunity to talk to someone about it, but I think it could compete with the 1022.
It seems like it. I'd buy one. I like you've got the old military style front sight blade on there too,
Right.
And a nice aperture sight. In fact, instead of the buckhorn or the notch sight, that's a much more accurate way to go. Oh, cool. Well, thank you very much for sharing this with us. We appreciate it. Thanks for watching, guys. I hope you enjoyed the video. Tune in again to Forgotten Weapons for more prototype rimfire plinkers.